Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Uncle Garrett.
And Anime.
Yep, we had a request from one of our beautiful subscribers. They're all beautiful because, well, they have to be, right? To discuss how to manage personal finances.
That's a good question. Thank you for asking for this discussion.
Okay, so let's get into it. So point number one was how to use loans and credit.
Better not use credit. Better not use a credit card and credit if possible.
Right, yeah. So, and we have, and a lot of people do use some credit to their benefit. First of all, mortgages can be used to great effect, and a lot of people use them. But some of the keys to using them more effectively is to, first of all, get the largest down payment that you possibly can. And that might mean saving up a little bit beforehand. Defer, the purchase of a house to get more of a down payment. And especially if it's your first house, buy less of a house so you can get a greater percentage down payment.
Yeah, buy modest house, right?
Right.
Yeah, from starter, get small house, right? And just work your way up.
Yeah. I think generally when you're young, try to defer gratification. Don't try to live the same lifestyle you did when you were in your parents' house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's not reasonable. It's never really been done very effectively.
So how about a car loan? I think the same principle, right? When it comes to purchase the first car, or you want to save up for something, it's a good idea to buy a modest car.
Yeah.
The minimum price car, just fulfill your requirements.
If you have to get an auto loan, buy the minimum car that fulfills your requirements.
Yeah.
Now, if you're wealthy enough to pay cash for a car and you can't afford a nicer car, that's the time to get a nicer car.
But still, is that just like buy a 5 to 10 year old nice car?
Right, yeah.
The cost is actually really
these
lowest.
Days, a 5-year-old car is very, very nice.
Yeah, you can buy a nice car, but 5-year-olds, and that costs
You
very
save
effectively,
so much
and you still, have a nice car.
Right. Yeah.
Another way, I see people get nicer car is through the multi-year auto loan. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
Like if you have to give it an auto loan, get the minimum necessary car.
Yeah.
And
I think.
And then the multi-year auto lease is even worse.
Oh no, I'm saying the multi-year auto lease.
Right. Yeah. The lease. That people use leases to get much more of a car than they could actually afford. And it's all about monthly payments. If you can afford the monthly payment, then you can afford that car. Well, no. That's really financially destructive to do that. So if you purchase a car, especially if it's used, you're going to end up being able to sell it, once it's maybe 10, 15.
So then how about a credit card? People still, they want to use a credit card.
We use credit cards just for convenient payments. We do not use the revolving credit of credit cards.
Yeah.
We pay the balance. And the rule is, if you don't have it in the bank, don't buy it. Not with credit cards.
And I think, I think credit card interest rate is higher than the personal loan from the bank.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to.
Generally speaking, if you can get a personal loan, personal loans usually in the U.S. take the form of a home equity line of credit.
Yeah.
And those are lower interest, but still not great.
Not great, but better than the credit card interest rate.
Yeah,
But by all means, just trying to avoid use credit.
right.
Yeah. And I remember there's a study shows that when people using credit card, they actually spend 30% more than versus they are using cash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the interest rates are just outrageous.
Yeah.
Um,
No. Spend
Oh.
amount you spend. Because you don't feel,
right.
you don't see the diminishing
Right.
of a stack of the cash.
Right. Some people use the trick of always paying with cash, so
Yeah.
it's much more visible what you're spending. And,
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later.
Yeah. 30%
But,
more. Yeah.
So, have we covered use of loans?
I think so.
So the next point.
Oh, yeah. Use a loan is always check the penalty, late payment.
Late payment penalties.
Whenever you apply for a loan.
Especially if it's like 1 year, no interest.
Yeah, buy it now, pay it later. So it's no interest, but there's a huge penalty.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to check out.
And that's one way they get people who are not entirely organized because they're 1 hour late on that first payment. You got to pay penalties and all the interest of that year that was supposedly free.
Uh-huh.
It's can be really devastating.
Uh-huh. Talking about that, as a, I just quickly want to add this, that sometimes, there's a service that they say you can cancel at any time. A lot of times people forget to cancel, so you really need to put it into the calendar.
Yeah. And that's what I do whenever I want to take advantage of something that's like a free trial or free for so long.
Yeah.
I always put it in the calendar like 2 or 3 days before the deadline.
Yeah. A free trial from some, vendor that you trust, right? Like they have some reputation, but I heard people have the scam online that free trial actually not free.
Yeah.
As soon as you click free trial, it said, thank you, we just billed you $12.
Yeah, because they ask you for the credit card up front just in case, and then they just bill you anyway. It's, did we say free? Well, we didn't mean that.
So be careful
Go ahead
about
and sue us.
Yeah. You take days and days trying to figure out how to stop that.
Yeah. And there's some outfit, in a faraway foreign country, and you have no standing anywhere.
Exactly.
Forget it.
Exactly. We'll talk about scam more later. So we're done with the loan.
Okay.
So now we want to talk about saving some percentage of income consistently, like maybe 20% or 30%.
Right.
What do you think?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. And when I say 20 to 30%, I'm thinking of all savings. Now, you can do more. If you have the income and you can save more, by all means, don't make 30% your upper limit.
Yeah.
But most people, 20 to 30% is a big stretch. And so what I'm talking about is retirement savings and emergency savings and all together, it should amount to something like 20 or 30% of take-home pay.
Some people will say, "Oh, no way! I couldn't save that much."
Yeah. Yeah. So imagine this. Imagine some politician said, we're going to increase your income tax by 20 points. And everybody would go, how terrible, how dare you? And if they forced it through, you'd have to find a way, right?
Yes, you probably will not end up as camping on the street.
So consider that we're just taking a tax from you, and we're going to force you to save it. And you just have to find a way. Now, I guess there are some people who are just so low income.
No, just consider your future. Just consider the future of you want to tax the current you 20 or 30%, so that the future you can live nicely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But
It's much easier, tough out when you are young. It's much harder to tough out when you're old. You need a medicine, your all kind of conditions.
Yeah.
You do need that cushion to
Yeah,
help you.
Yeah, maybe there's some future you that really, really needs it.
I think that the first few $1,000s should go into emergency account.
Yeah.
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 Should cover things like just in case. I hope never, but just in case you lose your job, or in the case that your car broke down, need a big repair,
Yeah.
such and such.
Or a kid gets in an accident. Or
Yeah, I hope
whatever.
never happen, but
Yeah.
good idea
Gotta
to have
be
a
prepared.
emergency fund.
Yeah. Yeah. Your emergency fund should be, at the very least, like an average car repair bill of something going really wrong, or your medical insurance deductible. It should be at least that size.
Yeah, about 10% of
Yeah.
rent or mortgage.
Well, that's what I call the oh no fund in budgeting, and we'll get into that.
Oh,
later.
go in that later. Okay, so one thing is that don't get title loan. Title loan.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
get
that's
title
what the emergency fund is for.
Yes.
So you don't have to go out and get a title loan, because
Yeah.
those are really,
really crushing
punitive.
you. That's you just,
I mean,
just so
Hundreds
hard.
of percent interest. And,
More than 100% sometimes.
hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah.
700 to 800% interest. It's just
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. That is just, you definitely don't want to go there. Okay, so now we can move to the next point, which is manage the budget. So
Yeah. So everyone should have something of a budget. If you're high income, maybe it's not that much of a concern, but you should be setting at least savings goals.
yeah.
And monitoring your progress towards those goals monthly or quarterly. And then adjusting plans accordingly, if you're not reaching those goals, to cut back on some of the
large spends like a luxury vacation, you just make it shorter, or etc.
Or if you're saving up for a car, then defer that or get a lesser car or whatever.
Yeah. For the low income family, you really have to plan and track every penny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was a starving student, I had a little spreadsheet, and I counted every penny, and this was even before you could, had good cash management programs even on the computer, and
You just have a spending diary, right?
well, I at least had a spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet. Okay.
I could track it with that, but every single receipt I'd have to bring back and record it, and that was when I was trying to live like $1 per meal.
Yeah, I remember.
$21 per week.
I remember you said
budget.
you have to cook your own bread, and you have to eat chicken because that's the cheapest meat. Monitor every penny.
Yeah, bread was my friend. It filled the stomach cheaply. And then, well, there's medium income as well, right?
Yeah.
So, and it could be kind of maybe somewhere in between. Maybe if you're middle income, you definitely want to track your spending out. You already know what you're going to pay for mortgage and car payment and usually utilities and basic things like that. Maybe you don't have to track that like you do if you're low income. You just track every penny.
But still, like going to Starbucks for $4 and dining out for, $15 a meal, and you and your partner together, that actually, just like the water flooding really fast, you don't realize, but it could be some spending here and there 4 times more than you think,
The spending really does go so much faster than you think if you're not tracking it.
Yes.
And One way to track it is like we talked about earlier you pay with cash.
Yeah.
And your budget for the day is in your pocket. once that pocket runs empty, you're done.
Go home.
So yeah, that's one way to enforce discipline.
Yeah, yeah, and at the end of the month, right? Bring out your plan and your spends and see the difference and see how next month you can
Yeah.
adjust so that
Yeah.
so maybe you should catch your Starbucks once a week rather than every day, right? Whatever
Right.
it takes to
Yeah.
adjust your budget.
Or just cut
back
it out.
to-
Cut it out. There's no reason to go to Starbucks.
You know what?
You can make really, really good coffee
Yeah. Garrett
at
makes.
home for a fraction.
I know Garrett makes the coffee. It's a wonderful taste. And it takes you a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like I calculated about 60 cents a cup, right? When the tastes so wonderful, I think it's better than Starbucks, and where
Yeah.
they cost for $5. I mean,
Yeah.
10 times almost.
Yeah.
No sense.
Yeah.
And you can just one batch come out of 2 cups, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's $10 save every day.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
we're pretty financially well off, and we never go to Starbucks. Okay.
and we don't go to restaurant either.
Yeah.
And we have a decent amount savings, but we're very, very frugal.
Yeah.
We don't go to
we
restaurant.
can easily afford restaurants, but actually we prefer the home cooking because,
We
we're-
know exactly what the ingredients
Yeah,
into my
yeah.
stomach, right? Our stomach.
Yeah, and guess what? We don't have any seed oils, right? So,
I'm not eating a cheesecake that has the margarine inside, right? Or corn syrup as topping, right?
right.
Yeah, so much healthier. So now we can talk about the budget for. Oh nope.
Oh yes, the oh no
Oops.
budget item.
Oops.
So yeah, when you're making a budget, especially if you're lower income, budget some amount of money in the category I call oh no,
Okay.
because things never go as planned, right?
I never.
Things are more expensive. More stuff that you never anticipated needing to buy.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah. I'm always disappointed by the end of the year, looking at how much we spend and how much, I was thinking what do we spend. It just always, there's a gap.
Yeah. So the question is, what if you make this budget and according to your income, and there's just no way I can't pay all even the necessary bills, and have savings and a no budget. What to do then?
Yeah, I would say if you really cut your spends very lean, and then you need to bring more income, or whatever it takes. Like maybe you need to find a new job, a better job, or maybe you need to find a side job, a gig, or maybe you should downsize. Pay apartment, less rent or less mortgage.
Yeah, maybe you've gotten an apartment or a house that's beyond your means at that point,
Yeah.
and it's time to downsize or upgrade your income.
Upgrade your income, or is anything you don't need, like maybe you don't need 2 cars.
So
Or the network. I mean the TV's subscription.
right.
Right. Do you really need it?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe you should turn off
Exactly.
the TV and do some study or do some education so you can find a better job or do some gig.
Exactly.
And then you
Right.
don't have to pay that TV.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of
That's a
ways.
principle. If you can't budget all those things that we've recommended, you
Uh-huh.
can't afford TV.
Yeah, you should invest the TV time into something that towards your future income.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about scams.
Yep. So I guess everybody's heard the principle. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
But why do people fall for scams anyway?
Hope I have better luck today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel lucky?
Right. It's probably the same reason gambling addicts keep on gambling, because
Yeah.
there's an element of greed
Uh-huh.
and probably some denial in there too.
Uh-huh.
So, budgeting really, a good part of budgeting is mental discipline.
What do you say? There was a time a neighbor told me that her 80-year-old mother, hand over her finance to my neighbor, which is the daughter, and then she found there are tons of overcharge and scams, and that the banks is paying every month.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know the details, but it does happen, sometimes. People target seniors a lot
Yeah.
because seniors grew up in a world where
Uh-huh.
there weren't so many scams, and,
Yeah.
and so many people working so hard to not work. Ironic as that sounds, right?
Uh-huh.
And so they'll sometimes even just send out bills to people hoping, bogus bills, hoping they'll just pay it.
Uh-huh.
Or then there's scams like, oh, this is your son calling, and they can even use AI to make a voice that sounds exactly like a relative.
I did hear the story. Yeah, like the children get a call from the father to say, "Oh, your mom is in the hospital. Need $5,000 deposit. Just wire to this account right away." And then the children said, "Wow, this is not my mom's
Right.
account or my dad's account. I better to call back to make sure." And the call back, the phone is always busy. And they think, "Oh boy, they're in the hospital. I better wire right now." This is a time actually you should hold a second to see. Well, the AI can mimic my mom and dad's voice. Hold on.
Yeah. And and I've also seen scams where people get into a scam, and then the scammers keep on saying, "Oh, we just need a little bit more. We're almost there. We need a little bit more. The investment is just
Yeah.
about to pay off. We just need to get over this hump."
Yeah.
And so that's when the sunk cost fallacy comes in, because then the victim tends to start to think, I've invested so much and just need a tiny bit fraction more, and then maybe it'll pay off. Sure hope it does. Yeah. Another thing everyone should be doing is trying to raise their income. That's always a good thing.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh.
Yeah. So one thing I've heard very successful people advise is your primary job is getting yourself qualified for a better job.
Yeah.
That's what the first thing you should focus on at work.
Yeah. We have a friend that he's always eyes on the higher job, and then learned what the higher job's requirement, and then he go for that
Right.
position.
Exactly.
So he's
Yeah.
working from the very low, the little
Yeah.
boy, and all the way to high pay.
Right. Yeah.
And he didn't have any education,
Not a
not a college degree.
Right. Yeah.
All he did was like, oh, that's a better pizza. What does he do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me learn that.
I don't think he even, I forget, did he even finish high school? I think it was like basically an eighth
No.
grade education.
No.
And he just hired on as a hand, and
Yeah.
and every job he did, he was aiming to qualify for the next one higher, and he ended up being pretty wealthy.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very high income.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about investment. That's part of can raise your income too,
Right.
in long term.
Right.
But we're not talking about gambling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I think these days trying to pick stocks is gambling. It's just, the stocks have become so much just a gamble on what the Federal Reserve is going to do that it's the days of stock pickers, I think, are over. Because there's just so little correlation anymore between a good company and a good stock.
Yeah.
They might exist still, but
Maybe go physical is better, huh?
Yeah, physical assets, those investment classes, I think, are a little more stable.
Yeah.
They're still affected by what the Federal Reserve does.
By the cycles or economy.
Yeah, larger cycles.
Yeah,
and
it will be affected. But
and the larger cycles are easier to follow. Easier
than
to
how
predict.
a single individual stock would move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
quite different.
one of the things we did was we invested in real estate at a time when everybody was saying, don't touch real estate. Boy, that's just so toxic. You do not
Beta for 5 years, right?
Yeah, it's going to remain in the dumps for as far as the eye can see. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
So that's when we said, it's time to buy some real estate.
Yeah.
And
You
that-
really need to over counter your desire, to buy high and sell low,
Right.
because
Yeah.
your emotions drive you, but
Yeah.
it's actually really counterproductive
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
So
when you're a long cycle investor,
yeah,
it's pretty easy.
yeah,
Buy when everybody thinks it's terrible,
yeah.
and sell when everybody thinks it's the greatest
Yeah,
thing.
do the opposite of the public's sentiment, right? Everybody's fear.
Yeah.
Now you can,
And they call that a
Don't fear.
contrarian investor.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that works in the long cycle investing.
And do we want to talk a little bit about saving? It's like you need to shop wisely. Compare price, where to shop.
Yeah.
Gary and I, we like to support small business, right? But to a limit, we found sometimes the small business is charging like many times the same item compared to the online store.
Yeah.
So that's just to a certain degree we can support them.
Yeah. Yeah. And many young people have gotten this now, but now we have shopping tools that we never had before, because you can be in a store and then you can go and look on some online sales site and see check out the price and the reviews online.
Yes. At the store and check online. So, maybe we can help the local store for sure. We want to help. If maybe 15% or 30%, you feel comfortable to support, but not 3 or 5 times.
Right.
Yeah. So do we cover everything?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay.
So, wow, this was a big, long conversation, wasn't it? And there's a lot to it, and there's so much more. It can be, it's almost an endless subject, right?
That's true.
So, I think we've covered some of the more important points that we've found are most relevant. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah.
And hope this was helpful. And Yeah, especially you young people, get your finances together. You have a great life ahead of you, and especially if you have the financial resources to do so.
Yeah. Oh, I want to add two more things. One is if you can borrow things, maybe it's better. Or maybe you can get a loan from your.
Make friends with the neighbors who has everything, and
Uh, yeah.
but when you borrow nicely,
Yeah, return nicely.
yeah,
And,
return promptly and in good condition always.
Yeah, yeah. The thing I want to add is that a lot of young people, they say, I can't save, but they have $200 sunglasses. And
Yeah.
they have a $1,000 newest iPhone that has the best camera. They got to have it because their friends have it. So I got to have it.
And
What do you think about that?
Streaming subscriptions
Yeah.
and I can't save anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, it goes back to the principle. When you're young and starting out, don't expect to have the same lifestyle you had in your wealthy parents' house. And if you're lucky enough to have grown up in a wealthy parents' house, or
Yeah.
or at least upper middle class,
Yeah.
you're going to have to take a lifestyle cut.
Yeah,
usually.
to be brave that you're not the cool kids. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the cool kids. Have all the cool kids had all the gadgets. You don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. The appearance of wealth is sometimes a substitute for virtue,
Yeah.
for growing real virtue.
Yeah, and if you can be frugal and working hard, that's actually you earned a real valuable thing in life, which is virtue.
Right.
So go for the real thing.
Like she said. Yeah.
All right, now I feel like I finished.
Okay. You sure we could tape for another 30 minutes? Here?
I want to thank again for the nice lady who,
Suggested the topic. Yeah.
Yes, that's a
Thank
good
you so
topic.
much. And
Yes.
thanks for listening. If you're still here, good for you. And good luck
Thank
on your
you.
finances. And until next time, this is Uncle Garrett.
This is Aunt May. Oh, yeah, please subscribe and like and share.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.